This week's podcast is coming from a sweltering Cyprus where the temperatures have jumped into the 40s, and as you can see, the view from our Cyprus office is quite spectacular, looking west over the Mediterranean, and we're looking forward to another magnificent westerly sunset today. And many people do dream of living and working abroad and of the views over the sea, but like in every country, there's always the option of having some traffic. However, we can see the Mediterranean, and that's pretty magnificent in itself. Many people dream of living and working abroad, and what's it going to mean in terms of tax after EU Brexit next year with the new double taxation treaty between Cyprus and the UK? Let's find out. So as you can see, I'm doing this vlog in our Cyprus office, the sweltering temperatures in Cyprus, and it's there's no makeup here. I am genuinely very hot, but I'm here to look at the new DT double taxation treaty arrangement between Cyprus and the UK and how it will affect retired expats with Brexit coming into 2019. Anybody with UK state pensions will continue to be taxed in their country of residence. Same with Cyprus, with Cypriot expats living and working in the UK. Personal or private pensions, whether it's from a company or a personal pension provider, again, they'll continue to be taxed in your country of tax residence, which for Cyprus tax residents, for people that are living and working abroad, retired with a pension, and they could be working as well, but they'll still only ever pay 5% tax on that private, personal or state pension. The big change for pensioners is that any public service pension from the 6th of April 2019, from the start of next tax year in England, will be taxed at source. So there's going to be winners and losers from this arrangement, and but there's some very great benefits as it stands, and obviously this is subject to confirmation in the next few months. Although the double taxation treaty has been signed, it's not quite passed into law. It's got to get Parliament ratification in the UK and Cyprus. But as it stands, a British expat retired in Cyprus could be getting a UK personal allowance of about £11,800 plus a Cypriot personal allowance on income of around £17,000 in income each year. So that's a big increase in the amount of personal allowance that can be set against income. And it could be, with the right amount of income, a retired expat living and working abroad in Cyprus could be earning £29,000 pounds and paying no tax at all, because the double taxation treaty also brings in confirmation of the status that there's no taxes on dividends or withholding taxes for bank interest and savings. So Cyprus could, for the right people, become a very attractive place to be retired. However, as with any changes, there's always winners and losers. Fair taxation in terms of individuals, business and government usually means, when the government says that they intend to get more tax for themselves, and they certainly will for the right types of people. So let's have a look at some of the key facts that are going into this arrangement and see who the winners and losers and what actions they can take. So any retired expat living in Cyprus needs to first of all consider if they'll be affected. If they've got a UK state pension that's not registered in Cyprus, then they need to make that arrangement before the start of April, or risk getting taxed in the UK. Secondly, there's always going to be winners and losers. If a retired expat has got a large public service pension over £11,800 a year, then they'll find themselves paying more UK tax at 20%. If their public service pension goes over £46,000, they'll be going up into 40% tax. So there'll be a big change. But even if they go back to the UK it's still going to be the same tax position. So if you've got a third point, if you've got more than one pension from different sources, and you've got a public service pension, a private pension and state pension, the state pension and the private and personal pensions continue to be taxed in Cyprus at 5%. So you will still be better if you've got split income between personal and public sector pensions and state pensions if you live in and work in Cyprus, given that you have the extra £11,800 pension personal allowance that you can now use against your pensions in the UK. For business people, for people that are retired but they're still working and they've got options to take a pension income, they can continue to enjoy that pension income at 5% and then still work in Cyprus or abroad and earn additional income. So pensions can be taxed at 5% in Cyprus with an additional £17,000 of personal allowance before you get taxed on income in Cyprus at 20%. A fifth point that Cypriots have introduced this year is that if you're working around the world and you're a bit of a migrant worker, you're moving from country to country to try and avoid paying tax, you may find yourself being caught out by banks and savings and pensions institutions who want you to have a tax number and a tax residency. With Cyprus, you only need to be in the country for 60 days a year to be tax resident. There are other conditions, and if you come to our website at proactpartnership.com, we can help you find that information and provide you some insight on how you could be living and working abroad, drawing a pension income and paying no tax on the income earned and 5% tax on the pensions, and maximising your allowances between the two countries. So the new double taxation treaty for pensions will mean that there's some winners and losers in the outcome of that in the current year. We are offering a free review of that situation for anybody that's considering relocating to Cyprus, or is an expat in another country that's considering Cyprus as a base for living and working or receiving pension income. So we'd offer a free review to assess how the new double taxation treaty will affect you and affect your income in 2019. So we've got Brexit next year, we've got confirmation that there's no dividend and there's no savings taxes for expats in Cyprus. There's 5% pension as long as you haven't got a private or public service pension from the UK, where the situation's changed. You need to review how you're going to be affected next year and what's the most tax efficient way for you to organise your family and your lifestyle living and working abroad. And one final point with pension freedoms, of course, you only pay tax on pension income if it comes from pensions. As a retired expat in Cyprus, you don't pay tax on savings and dividends, and therefore converting a pension into an investment fund and could mean that you could enjoy a considerable income from your assets, but they're not tied up in a pension plan, and therefore they're free of all taxes whilever you're living and working abroad. So another option for expats. It depends how your assets are made up, and it's worth considering that. If you want to contact us for a free review on how the double taxation treaty for expats affects pensions with Brexit, contact us and we'll give you a free review. But also look out for our guide to how EU Brexit affects expats living and working abroad and their property, their pensions and their business. It's a complete guide. It gives you full details of how you can go about organising your affairs and what you can expect with the changes that the Brexit's bringing about. Lots of people are getting hold of it, so get your copy now. Go to our website, proactpartnership.com, and look for the download of how EU Brexit affects expats, property, business and pensions.